Hey everyone, I'm Mike from theparkprodigy.com, and on today's video, we're going to break down if Universal Orlando is better than Walt Disney World right now. And this is a question that's been popping up a little bit more commonly over the past couple of months. And we just wanted to take a minute to break down, hey, if you are in the process of planning an Orlando vacation, you're going to want to check out this video because we are going to break down some of the things that we feel like Universal is definitely doing better than Disney right now. Also, make sure you stick around to the end because we are going to break down some of the things that we still think Disney is doing way better than Universal. Overall, you'll just get some more tips and tricks to plan the best vacation possible for your family, for your loved ones. I am excited for this video. Let's go get started. Thank you all so much for checking out this video, and truthfully, thank you all so much for continuing to check out all the videos that we've been putting out at the Park Prodigy YouTube channel. We really appreciate the love and support, but this video is going to be about if Universal is better than Disney World right now. And of course, there have been some major changes that have come to the theme parks ever since the reopening in 2020. Specifically over at Walt Disney World, it has gotten a little bit more complicated, if that you can even get more complicated than it already was to plan a Disney vacation. And I think that's why a lot of families are starting to look over at Universal Orlando and realizing like, hey, it might be easier for me to go and plan my vacation over there. And of course, there are some amazing rides, right? So that's why we wanted to break down this video, to break down everything Universal is doing better than Disney right now. And let's start with the most important, and that's going to be that Universal Orlando does not require you to have a park reservation. Now, if you're in the process of planning a Disney vacation, this might be new. However, you do need a park reservation to get into a Walt Disney World theme park. Meaning you can't just buy a ticket anymore. You can't just buy your ticket and show up to Magic Kingdom when you arrive. You need a theme park reservation or you won't be able to get into any of the Disney parks, which is kind of crazy. Now, it is important to note that it is really the park you plan to start your day at. So if you have a park hopper, of course, you can go to any park after 2 p.m. However, this is just an additional step. You need to link your park tickets to your My Disney Experience app, and now you need to make your park reservations. Not only that, one of the things that I hated about the old dining system was that you had to figure out where do you want to eat, 160 days from now or 6 months from now, right? You're putting families in a tough position where it's like, which park do you want to go at? A lot of families, when they're making their plans, they don't know the park hours 6 months from now. Not only that, but hey, maybe some flexibility, right? Or what if the park reservations sell out and you have a last minute friend or cousin that's coming on the trip? If the park reservations sell out, and we saw this in spring break of 2022, no one else is getting into that park, meaning that your family pretty much has no flexibility. And that's different over at Universal Orlando. You don't need a park reservation. Universal Orlando is first come, first serve. One of the other cool things is if you, let's say, show up and it's a really busy day and you show up for early park admission, you're pretty much going to be one of the first people into the park, and you really don't have to worry about the park reaching capacity. And let's be real, the parks really don't reach capacity outside of like Christmas time, 4th of July, like those really, really busy holidays. So it's almost never an issue when it comes to park reservations. And this is something that we feel like just gives families so much more flexibility, long story short, and something that Universal is doing better than Disney right now. All right, moving on to the next one, and that is Universal has more thrill rides. Now, we do have to give a huge shout out to Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. We just went on that ride a couple weeks ago, and it's amazing. I can't oversell this ride. It is the best ride in Orlando. It's the best theme park ride I've ever been on. With that being said, we still feel like Universal Orlando has just more thrill rides, specifically the Velocicoaster and, of course, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. And then, of course, you still have the Incredible Hulk Coaster. You have Harry Potter and the Escape from Gringotts, and you have Hollywood Ripper Rocket. There are just so many more thrill rides over at Universal Orlando that we just think Universal has the edge. They've had the edge, and they pretty much will keep the edge unless anything changes, but we don't see that happening anytime soon. Moving on to the next one, and this is going to be the premium options to skip the lines. Now, of course, over at Disney, we have the Disney Genie, which was brand new, and then over at Universal, we have the Universal Express Pass, which has been around for a while. Now, I will say there is a huge price difference, right? The Disney Genie is just way cheaper than the Universal Express Pass. There's no getting around that. With that being said, we just feel like the Universal Express Pass works so much better, right? Disney has even come out to say that, hey, the Disney Genie is really meant to be used to optimize 2 to 3 rides, right? And you're going to pay, right at the time of this recording, it's right around $15 per person per day. Okay, so pretty much you're paying around, it could be like $5 to $7 per ride if that's the basis of it. However, I also don't feel like it really works very well on the most popular rides. Not only that, but you have to get up at 7 a.m. to make your first ride selection, right? That's not convenient at all. The first thing I thought when I realized that was like when I was doing it myself on my first Disney trip was, how do you expect families with small kids? They already have enough on their plate trying to get all the kids up, trying to get the kids dressed. Everyone's, got to get breakfast, stuff like that. Now, on top of all that, you're asking families to log on to the Disney app at 7 a.m. to make your first selection. Oh, and then not only that, when you get on, there's no guarantee that the selection that you want, you'll even get, right? I don't see the benefit of that. I think, yes, Universal Orlando is significantly more. And Universal starts the pricing at $70. That's not really where you could find the pricing when you actually buy it. My opinion is it averages out around $150 to $200. With that being said, I just think it works so much more. You show up, you have your Express Pass ticket, and you just, at that point in time when you get into the park, you just decide which rides that you want to skip the line on. And you could skip all of them outside of 3. But with that being said, those 3 are also included in early park admission. So if you're using a company like the Park Prodigy and you get early park admission, right? Early park admission, you team that up with the Universal Express Pass, and you'll get on absolutely everything that you want to get on during your Universal trip. So sticking on topic, and that's going to be, if you're not going with the premium selections, right, then you're going to want to visit during the slower times of year. We still feel that Universal has a slow season, where over at Disney, we're really not seeing that too much. And we think what they're calling it in the travel industry is revenge travel, right? Where a lot of families did have to cancel those trips during COVID. So now, everyone is trying to get those trips in, and everyone's still visiting the theme parks at a pretty high level, right? With that being said, we still feel like, yes, I can see it myself. Disney still gets all the love. I don't care what anyone says. You can't keep people out of a Disney theme park, even with all these changes. That doesn't mean that the changes are easier. You just can't keep people out of a Disney theme park. So what we're finding is that Universal still has some slow times a year, like those regular, off-season times a year that maybe we didn't see in 2021 over at the Disney parks. Universal still has that, and you could still really, pick some great days to go to Universal, really, really low wait times, where we think we haven't seen that just yet in Disney. Now, I do feel like that's changing as we get into, later 2022 and going into the 2023, right? Because a lot of families now have gone on their trips. And I'm really hoping that we do go back to some old school, off-peak, peak season times a year, so you guys can, plan and really take advantage of low wait times. However, at this point in time, we still think that Universal has those low wait times. We're still waiting to see if that happens at Disney. Okay, moving on to the next thing, that Universal is doing better than Disney right now, and their special events are more affordable, or they're free. Now, of course, Disney has some great special events, such as the Epcot International Food and Wine, all those Epcot festivals, right? Technically, they're free. However, when we compare that to the special events over at Universal, we just feel like the free special events at Universal, such as Mardi Gras, Grinchmas, and just Christmas time in general, they just have more, free stuff, or more benefits, such as the parades and just different fun stuff going on through the events, that we just feel like the Universal free events are better. Not only that, when we just compare, let's say, Halloween Horror Nights to Mickey's Not So Scary, Halloween Horror Nights is more affordable, and they're not the same party, right? I'll go to both, and I'll have a ton of fun at both. They're just not, it's not the same vibe, it's not the same party. With that being said, though, Halloween Horror Nights is a big event. Like, Universal puts a lot of time. There's a lot of attention and detail that goes into all of those haunted houses. Like, it is a well-done event. And most ticket prices are going to be $70 to $89, right? Compared to the Disney's really been around like 100. They pulled it back, but Disney's going to be around the 100 and up, right? So when you just look at it, the Universal events are cheaper, and from a simple attention to detail standpoint, I think they're pretty much on the same level, right? So we have to give Universal the edge when it comes to the special events. And then last but not least, what Universal is doing better than Disney right now, we would say that they have better expansion plans. Now, of course, Universal has been hyping up Epic Universe, and we are all super, super excited to see what comes with Epic Universe. There's, Super Nintendo, all that good stuff, right? We can't wait to see what this new theme park brings. Now, on Disney, on the other hand, we're not getting a new theme park. And of course, they're more so like kind of giving us these new rides like Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, I have to admit, I have to really look and see, okay, what rides, I have to go on the rides at Epic Universe, because if the rides at Epic Universe don't live up to the hype, I would much rather take the one Guardians of the Galaxy ride every couple years, compared to an entire theme park that might not be as good as Guardians. Guardians is that good. With that being said, though, stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy is great, but Tron, we've been waiting on one ride over at the Magic Kingdom for a couple years now. And yes, I understand COVID, but still, that's just one ride, whereas Universal is bringing brand new theme parks. Also, when you look at the expansions of, let's say, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, what have we gotten from Disney in the last couple of years? We've gotten Star Wars and Toy Story Land. Star Wars lives up to the hype, but I would say Star Wars still is on par with the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, either one of them. So with that being said, I just feel like right now at this point in time, Universal has a better expansion plan. They have better, larger expansions coming for us to enjoy, where Disney, I think, is maybe just piecing it together. Who knows what the future will bring, but right now, I don't see it. I think Universal has the edge. Now, of course, before we wrap up the video, last but not least, I do want to just give a huge shout out to some of the things that Disney still is doing very, very well compared to Universal. And we do have to take a look at the Disney World app. Now, of course, right, Disney, their app has always been a little bit better than Universal, but specifically in recent months, they've brought out some stuff to really make getting your tickets easier, such as the Disney Magic Mobile, which we do use at the Park Prodigy, and the Disney Dining has always been better on the app. Now, I've never liked how Disney requires us to make it so far in advance. It's 2 months at this point in time. With that being said, though, you can actually make reservations. It's easier, and now Disney allows you to make same-day reservations for some of those sit-down restaurants. When we have a full video on that, if you're interested in learning more about that. Also on the app, the Disney World photos that you take throughout your family vacation. Everything on the Disney World app, in my opinion, is just so much easier, and it's just a little bit more sophisticated. So something else that we think Disney has the edge, and that is going to be nighttime parades and fireworks. Now, one of my problems with Universal is Universal has a really, really cool Hogwarts show at night, right? But there's no schedule for it. It's hit or miss. You have no idea when they're going to. You have to literally show up to the park and ask if there's going to be a nighttime show. I just don't like how you can't really plan around that, right? So I still think that Disney has the edge when it comes to nighttime parades. And of course, the fireworks at Disney are amazing. Universal, in my opinion, will never touch Disney fireworks. Again, that's something that Disney has been doing well for ever, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. So if that's your vibe, right, sometimes you just want to go to the parks, grab a nice dinner, maybe go check out the fireworks at night, Disney is always going to be better than Universal in that category. And then last but not least, it wouldn't be a Park Prodigy video if we didn't talk about food at some point. I come from a big Italian family, pretty much have to get food into every conversation, but Disney World's restaurants are just way better. I mean, it's not even close, and I don't think it ever will be. There's also just so many more restaurant options that are better. They're across the board. So I would say that, again, if you guys are foodies, or if you're trying to figure out like, hey, where do we go to make sure that meals are a big part of your trip, and we are going to wrap it up with the food. That is it. That's the video. Those are some of the things that we do think Universal is doing better than Disney World right now. Some of the ways Universal is better than Disney World right now, and vice versa. I do hope that you found this video helpful. I do hope that maybe it relieves some of your stress. Where you're like, hey, you want to know what? Instead of making these park reservations, we're just going to go over to Universal. If there is anything that you think I missed that maybe Universal is doing better than Disney, or if you disagree with me, or if you think, hey, Mike, you forgot Disney's doing this better than Universal, be sure to leave it in our comment section and leave it for other guests who are checking out this video to get them some helpful tips as well. I really appreciate you all checking out this video. Like I said, once again, I think that's all the time we have for today. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.